I honestly think modern Wisconsin football as we know it is dead.
Well, here's the thing.
He's
You
gonna
should have
have to try to find a
accepted
way to
it was
remake
dead
that.
2 years ago.
It seemed like there was a hope of a lifeline to be resuscitated. But now, I mean, you end this bowl streak, you end the winning streak. There's not a lot to be hopeful for in this current college football climate. I don't know if Coach Fickell's the guy. I've never experienced such...
He ain't going anywhere.
I know he's not going anywhere. That buyout's too big.
The buyout is way too big.
Yeah, people got concerned about Paul Chryst with like his $11 million buyout. Fickell's is like $42 million. So
A lot of millions. A lot of dollars. We know who's paying that. You going to pony up just in case because we got 1 year. Y'all better get ready. Start collecting them dollars, passing that plate around with Wisconsin in the game. I'm telling you, we want to get some donations.
Hey, Camp Randall. It's the fourth quarter. Instead of jump around, we're going to be passing plates around. Please give your donations to the...
That's 80,000 people. Everybody give $10 each. You know math, Brad. What is that, 800,000?
That's $800,000.
$800,000.
If you have 7 home
It's
games.
not even going to make a dent.
7 home games would be, what would that be, like $5.4 million? You gotta do another, like,
Well,
maybe more than it's gotta be.
It's better than nothing. We're preparing. You better
It's gotta
prepare
be
a buyout.
It's gotta be about $50 a person.
Or we better pray something happens where somebody thinks they want to take him and he does a Gary Anderson route.
So what I want to know,
pray.
but I want solutions. I want solutions because I'm having a hard time coming up with those solutions as it pertains to the Wisconsin Badgers. If you missed it, Minnesota beat us pretty bad. As you heard Brad on the Wisconsin College Game Day postgame show coming into Kyle Brust Dortmund here, 800-990-3776. They're not bowl eligible. They don't have an offensive coordinator. They had a kicker today, flip from Wisconsin to Notre Dame.
Unbelievable.
Breaking Brad's heart.
The best specialist recruit that Wisconsin's ever had. And that's probably me included, maybe next to me. But he is the best specialist recruit Wisconsin's ever had. Number 1 kicker and punter in the country. Committed to Wisconsin.
Why? Why?
Flipped.
But why would somebody want to come to Wisconsin right now? And I say that as a place that I love.
To jump around when you're down by 2 score, almost cuss, 14 points or whatever it is to Minnesota in the fourth quarter, they jumping around.
The thing is,
It's terrible.
I did see that.
That's embarrassing.
the hard
Just happy to
part
be
is
here.
Iowa, Nebraska, Minnesota. Okay, your 3 rivalry games, 3 teams that don't have a major talent gap to you, right? Because that's the thing. Oh, there's a talent gap. Oh, the cupboard was full or was bare when Paul Chryst left. First of all, he's had plenty of time to develop anybody that he'd bring in via transfer portal or via high school recruiting, or there were still some dudes left on the program. So Fickell has had time to develop if he actually is a developmental type coach. But even then, okay, I understand not being able to play with Alabama or playing with Oregon. But Iowa, Minnesota, Nebraska, those are mirror images of you talent-wise, recruiting-wise, everything-wise. And you don't just lose to them, you get blown out. All 3 of them. From start to finish, wasn't even close.
Not even close.
So why would people come to Wisconsin?
I honestly don't know. It's for like the love of the W is how you'd have to do it.
That's gone.
But it's transactional now.
Stop it.
It's transactional.
Obviously, they're offering a lot of these kids the most NIL package because ain't no way in the world you getting a Carter Smith, the young kid from Fort Myers, Florida, who was committed to Michigan, and then Michigan ended up getting another quarterback who they paid a lot of money
in the
for.
country.
He saw the writing on the wall, so he ended up leaving. Ain't no way you landed him unless you gave him the best package.
There's a
nothing
decent
good
pool.
about this.
There's a decent pool of money. It's not the most money in the world, but it's decent enough to be competitive.
Opportunity and money. That's what it came down to. That's what Wisconsin offers at this point. They offer these kids opportunity and money because they sure ain't offering them tradition. They sure ain't offering them coaching, and they for damn sure ain't offering them winning football.
Well, and that's the problem because it's become transactional. So Coach Fickell needs to implement a culture that transcends this transactional nature of college football. And he hasn't come close to doing that. It feels like it's more transactional than ever. It feels like the culture is more eroded than ever. So I don't see how, even if you get a guy like Carter Smith, right? What if he balls out? Well, if it's transactional, and he's not going to get as much money as he possibly can here, why wouldn't he pull a Cam Ward and go into the transfer portal, college free agency, and get double and go to Alabama or go to any other program that can fork over more money?
So I think the hardest part I'm having is not like, I almost think you're looking too far ahead right now, even there. Like, that would be a great problem.
Be a great problem.
That'd be a great problem to have enough talent that you're like, again, people are gonna get poached to the bigger schools all the time. The way that you're gonna win is at least starting to get those guys building a new culture. But the hard part that I have right now is I cannot connect with Luke Fickell. I can't connect with him. I don't feel any energy. I don't feel any emotion. There's just something about the vibe that I get from Luke Fickell as to like he's lost, and I'm not getting anything from him as to reasons why I should be confident that man in charge of the Wisconsin football program is going to turn this around. That's ultimately, he's the one who's in charge. He said it in his post-game press conference. We got to go to work. We have a tough task. Well, it starts now.
Oh, he said the same thing after last season.
I hear you. And I have a hard time connecting with him as a Badger. Does it feel like Luke Fickell is a Badger? Or does it feel like he's a head coach collecting $7.7 million to do an okay to below average job?
Yeah, I mean, from a Badger perspective, he doesn't feel like one of us. He feels like an outsider. He feels like a guy that's trying to come in.
Do you need to be a Badger, or how do you because again, why I was excited was because he was a nose tackle in the Big Ten. That's physical. He's a wrestler, physical. And there's nothing physical about this team. You're supposed to be the identity of the head coach, but I don't see this physical nose tackling wrestler on the sideline getting these guys to play physical.
Well, that's the thing. You don't have to be a Badger. You don't have to go there, play for them, or coach for them beforehand to be able to be a head coach and feel like you're one of us. But it's the mantra. It's the presence. It's the culture that I felt like was the perfect marriage for Coach Fickell to come in here, because all those things that you mentioned, Ben, all the things that would reflect who Wisconsin Badgers are, of discipline, of tough, of gritty, hardworking, of transcending like the transactional nature of college football. I thought he'd be the guy. But he doesn't give off those vibes at all. Never has he run a press conference. Never have I viewed him on the sidelines and been like, oh, that's it right there. There's the passion. There's the toughness. There's the dude who's going to come in here and bring Wisconsin championships. It feels like it's all lip service. It feels like he's just a walking suit wearing that, team vest, where it's just like, I don't know what you're bringing. I don't know what inspiration you are giving these players, because clearly the players quit this year. That is obvious. There's no reason to be blown out the way you did at the end of the season unless you quit. Those players quit on him. That's a concern. So that's why he has 1 year to figure this out, because that is sowing seeds of a death culture.
You know why I know he's not going to figure out? And I want to give him 1 more year because I am still hopeful that something's going to happen, but I'm not being dummy. I'm not being stupid, because when somebody says those who will stay will be champions, that's just a mantra that people say all the dang time. If that's the best you got after you just said 5-7, you were 5-7 last year. You were 7-5 to end the year, and now you're 5-7. You took a step backwards, and all you can say is those who will stay will be champions. The people, you got to have people who believe in you. I know it's hard having faith in things you can't see right now. I'm sure the players can't see it either. Well, what the hell have you been doing for 2 years? If they can't see your vision, then you obviously are the problem. We're going nowhere fast. So all we're going to see next year, this team's going to be 5-7, 6-6, 7-5, and y'all may be hopeful, but not me. Next year, we better win 8 to 9 games. I'm sick of seeing schools like Syracuse out of nowhere winning 9 football games, right? I'm sick of seeing schools just like Indiana out of nowhere winning 10, 11 games in the season. I want to win some football games, and Luke Fickell ain't doing that for me, so his ass got to go next year if he ain't winning.
Kyle nailed it. He said my piece. Thank you for...
well said, Kyle.
No, it's frustrating. It is, and the thing that makes me most mad, I'll be done, is, Brad, you talked about it. You talked about what we used to be, right? The grittiness, the toughness. And that's why I took a shot at Mike Tressel, because when I think about Jim Leonard was the epitome of that. Everything he worked for, he had to freaking earn. He was a walk-on from the middle of nowhere, Wisconsin. He walked on at Wisconsin, became a star, and then he made it in the NFL. He wasn't the most athletic, even though he's pretty athletic. He wasn't the most talented, but he had a great heart, right? He worked for every single thing he had. He didn't have somebody hand him anything, right? And that's what upsets me, is that we have lost the identity of what Badger football is all about. It's about taking that 3-star kid and turning him into a hell of a football player. Right now,
you're never going to have that anymore.
That's fine. But you got to find people that fit the culture. I'm now understanding why Wisconsin never used to take transfers. It would have messed up the team. It would have messed up the football team. Van Ginkel you got very few. Van Ginkel came in, what happened? Successful, right? You find guys that fit. In Wisconsin, they ain't finding guys that fit. They're finding a whole bunch of different people and trying to put it together, and it turns into nastiness. Goulash, or whatever the hell it's called.
Goulash. Tell us about Underdog Fantasy while you're happy.
Oh, wow. While I'm happy, I'm all flustered and mad and upset, but you know what? I had a pretty good weekend on Underdog Fantasy.